this way a little bit. Oh, I should put some tunes on. What do I have in the way of tunes? Well, I have all the Phineas and Ferb songs. I could do that. Oh, I'm going to do Doofin Monogram to sing the hits. This is not available anywhere. This is something we did for.
Welcome to the Tri-State Area Lounge. We have a special.
We did this for the crew for Christmas one year. So this is Doofin Monogram doing a cabaret skit.
Major Monogram.
Good evening, everybody. I'd like to bring it down a little right now.
What do you mean bring it down? We haven't even started yet. How can you possibly
Don't go changing.
Oh, I see. I see what you're doing.
Try and please me.
You're bringing everybody else.
I like you just the way you are.
Oh, that's nice. But you know what I like?
No, tell me.
Okay. I like big butts and I cannot lie. Your other brothers can't deny. There was a girl watching with a bitty bitty waist turn around, bang in your face, you get sprung.
Word.
My homeboy tried to warn me, but that butt you got
Me so ornery.
You think that's what they're saying there, really? Ornery?
Well, you know, this is a family channel.
Well, I see. You don't want to get too sexy.
You know me. I'm too sexy for my shirt. Too sexy for my shirt.
I'm gonna put
so
his
sexy
eyes.
it hurts.
Well, it is a nice
And
shirt.
I'm too sexy for Milan. Too sexy for Milan. New York and Japan.
But not the fair. I'm too sexy for this party. Too sexy for this party. There's no way I miss the dancing.
I'm a model and you know what I mean. And I do my
There we go. That's what Perry Platypus
You know, I just realized I'm too sexy
would look like.
Oh, really?
Yes, if anyone needs me, I'll be in my trailer.
You have a trailer?
Oh, well, okay, I won't be in my trailer. You know where I'll be? Walking in a lake.
Walking in a lake.
Nobody walks in a lake. Nobody walks in a lake.
There you go. Can you guys see that there?
No, it's
So
not.
that's basically what he would look
It's
like.
L.A. Los Angeles. They're talking about Los
I'll
Angeles.
just take that, turn that off. So there we go. That's basically what he looked like in the show. He doesn't really have ears, so we would probably have to tie it in the back here. Let's see if I have. I think I have a logo. Hold on. I have a logo for. Okay, here, let's. No, that's not what I wanted to do. Let's see. Okay, here we go.
Didn't know how lost I was till I found you.
Standards and practices should be more consistent.
Hey! Oh, what I like about you. Yeah, what's that?
You really know how to dance.
Yes, I do.
When you go up, down, jump around, make me think about rolling the tri-state area.
Put the brakes on there, Doofy.
Sorry, that was an inappropriate outburst.
Be careful or I'm gonna have to call the cops. You know, I used to think, baby, you loved me. Now, maybe I'm sure.
I don't think you should slap yourself that much. 'Cause I don't want you back for the weekend, not back for the day.
Now you're just being hurtful.
Oh, Mr. Sensitive.
Baby, I just want you back, and I want you to stay.
Stay away from me.
Oh,
Now walking on sunshine.
I'm walking on sunshine. Hey, I'm walking on sunshine. Whoa, it's starting to feel good. Though my bursitis is flaring up a bit, but other than that, I'm starting to feel good.
And I've got a pointer, but I've seen a
Oh,
special.
we may be creepy old men, but you know what we can do.
No, but I'm sure you're going to tell me when the music comes back around.
We can dance if we want to. We can leave your friends behind.
My friends
Because
behind.
your friends don't dance, and if they don't
What
dance,
about
then
my
they're
friends behind?
Friends of mine, especially that Kevin.
Set fire to the sun. What was that all about?
Hey, come on, Doc, let's bring it home.
Okay, now.
Calling out around singing the streets.
Paste. What's next in the big? Oh, this is just gonna. I guess it's on a.
Strap on a jetpack and string up the net jack. I'll bump it.
Okay, let's go to. Let's see where we are. I don't know. Some of these are. You know what? I could play you guys. Love this. Alright, there you go. I could play you guys some of the earlier versions of these things, like our original. I'll see if I can find some. Like our original demos are sometimes fun. And sometimes they're just irritating to listen to. Alright, I'm gonna place one more. Put it up here, and then merge these down. Merge down. Alright. Oh, let me try again. I don't know when I lost this connection. Good connection. Says I'm back. Am I back? Yes! Okay, well here's what we did. That's Perry. I'll probably have to put some color on it, since I did for the others. Alright, Let's do that. Alright, let's see if there's other... Oh, here's how we make Phineas and Ferb. I think. There we go.
Yeah, we're animators.
There we go. Here he is. I'm gonna drop some color in here. Like we're still on.
Don't always put it on our time card. Check it. I roll into
The Mouse House, 9 a.m.
Flash my badge to security. They know who I am. Breakfast at the commissary.
A bagel and honey.
Then it's time to get serious and make with the funny.
Cause we're anime. That's right, we're anime. We're making Phineas and Ferb. Yeah, we're anime. We start with a premise, just a page and a half. We pitch it in the writer's room to see if we laugh.
Then we check on the executives, esprit de corps. She says, yeah, we're going to outline.
That's just one page more.
Now a lot of
Make
production.
the underside here just a little bit darker.
Oh no, we got no fear. We're going straight to boards. Cause we draw it.
It's the illusion of three dimensions.
And we don't try to fight it.
Cause we're anime.
Let's find a good Perry teal
Yeah,
somewhere.
we're anime.
A little greener than that.
We pitch it to the whole crew to see if they giggle too, or if they just throw food.
Sometimes it's funny stuff. Sometimes it's barely amusing.
There we go.
Write it
Oh,
again. It's all picking and choosing.
And all the good
There.
stuff here and all the bad stuff there. Here comes somebody who cares, cause it's a cutthroat life drawing boards and pitching.
If you can't stand the heat, stay out of the kitchen. Cause we're anime. That's right, we're anime. We're making Phineas and Ferb. Yeah, we're anime. In the sound studio, recording all of the voices. We get 3 takes of everything. It's all about choices.
Then we digitize it all. Technology so groovy, put it into animatic.
go.
Make it a movie. We draw props, characters, backgrounds, to throw in a dash of color.
Does that look good to you?
Yeah.
Then it goes to timing, little secret in the
He's
biz.
got sort of an orangish
Nobody
tail.
knows what that is. Then after timing, it goes straight on to checking, and that's how we roll. 24 frames a second, cause we're anime. That's right, we're anime. Yeah, we're anime. You know we're anime.
Who out there remembers this song?
Artist named Herb, you know he's anime. Shit, the whole
It's
mess sees where
a
the end
Easter egg, I think,
and all
on
of this goes on before you ever leave
one
it.
of the videos.
It goes to editing. We pull
Back when there
all
used to be
night.
DVDs with extras like
Nobody cuts it tighter.
We call retakes.
A lot.
Cause
this.
mistakes need fixing.
Then it's music and sound effects
And
and
audio mixing.
Because we're animating.
That's right, we're
There you go.
making Phineas and
Perry the platypus.
Ferb. We're anime. That's right, we're anime.
Perry in a mess. I'll have to do a video for this later.
So that's how we do it. Are there any questions?
If there are, keep them to yourself.
I didn't think so.
How could we be naughty when I thought we'd been so nice? Could we have
Christmas
been
song.
blinded
Let's see.
to some little hidden vice?
Oh, here's our original demos when we write songs.
That skyline, maybe down some
Can you guys hear this?
lonely street.
I can't even tell.
There's a boy with anger issues, without whom I'm incomplete. Who will give me wedgies now? Now that we're so far apart,
There we go.
I have got to get him back
Oh, you know what?
somehow.
I've got.
There's a bully-sized hole.
Wonder if I have it
A
here.
bully-sized hole, a bully-sized hole in my heart.
So I'm gonna try to find the drawing I did of I'm putting my dog into my new show,
For being so smart,
and I did a really cute caricature of him at some
I just don't know
for
what
Hamster and
to
Gretel.
do.
So if you guys don't know, I'm doing a new show called Hamster and Gretel, where
In my heart, there's a
nerd-shaped hole.
a bully-sized hole, a big honking hole
concentrate on do this face. We wrote this song with Jarrett Reddick, who is, this is not his voice, this is Danny's version of it, before we put Jarrett in there.
I check my GPS time. I'm pretty sure that we're bouncing around the world. We'll bounce across the Great Wall and past the Taj Mahal. We'll go to Rome and see the Colosseum.
I can't find it.
It's a real whirlwind tour, so
I think it only exists on my phone, which I'm using to live with you guys.
you won't see him. I wish that we could stay and have some fun, but we gotta keep
Is Hamster and Gretel going to be on Disney? Yes, it is. On Disney Channel. And then, eventually on Disney Plus, like everything is. I think pretty much everything has to eventually be on Disney Plus nowadays. Yes, Disney. Hi, Dan. Yes, hi. Hi, Brantley. Somebody asked me about Lizzie Borden. Is that right? Yes, there's music in the new show. We've been writing lots and lots of songs. This is the first show I'm doing without Swampy. Although I'll probably write a song with him. He's busy doing his stuff over in Venice. So, how do you think Lizzie Borden would go in with Perry the Platypus? In where exactly? So I don't have Swampy and I don't have Martin readily available. I can Zoom with them, and I'm doing it all here anyway. But what I've been doing a lot of for Hamster and Gretel is I've just been finding other people that I've been wanting to write songs with and getting together with them and over Zoom and sort of spreading the love out a little bit and writing songs with people that I know from TikTok. Some of them are people that I've reached out to and said, hey, do you want to write a song for the new show? And we get together. And do a Zoom session and write a song. We've done, I don't know. How many songs yet? Let's see. There are, I'll just look at under lyrics. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 songs so far for Hamster and Gretel. What is that? Somebody did something in all caps back here. Somebody's shouting at me. Hey, the first song in the new movie, Candace, says more nonsense coming soon. That means, well, she is in the middle of that summer, so she's actually talking about that summer, but it would be fun to do more nonsense for you guys. The movie's done really well, but and they've talked a little bit about doing another movie, but we have no immediate plans to do another movie. What did I study? I studied filmmaking. I took one animation class, but I'd always been able to draw. Yeah, I was sort of a child prodigy artist. I didn't even start cartooning. I did very illustrative and serious artwork for a while, and then found cartooning and enjoyed it so much more. What's with the Milo gang? The Milo gang with masks. I'll probably get around to them. I've not been able to TikTok nearly as much as I've been wanting to because I've been working. Which Carolyn Dunton and I did a couple things where our bit was that I would call her and tell her I was quitting my day job so I could just TikTok because I was having so much fun TikToking, and it was her talking me out of quitting my day job, which was fun. Hey Dan, my goody two shoes brother and Doofenshmirtz. Aww. My cat's favorite Queen song. Ooh, that's interesting. it might be, I'd want to stay away from the ones that everybody, because I love almost every Queen song, but there's a song off News of the World called It's Late, which is one of my favorite songs that nobody really knows. It's a sort of a deep cut. Love the haircut, thank you. I was feeling absolutely uncivilized for a while, which is funny because my hair has been down to my belt at two different points in my life. there was a time in college where I had really long hair. I was playing in a rock band and all that, and then my wife saw this picture of me from college with the long hair and the ponytail, and she was like, "Ooh, can you do that again?" And I was like, "Well, I can grow my hair long again, but I'm not going to look like that guy. It's not a time machine. I'll look like me with long hair." And I did for a couple of years, and then she was like, "Okay, I'm over it. I've got it." It's just so much easier to deal with short. When you have all that hair, it takes forever to wash it. And then, like, if you want it to look really cool and rockery, there's a lot of work going into that. So I would just wash it and then just pull it back in a ponytail and let it dry. So it was a big pain. Will there be a crossover with the new show? I'm assuming that might be something Disney would be interested in at some point. Another one bites the dust. Is that somebody's favorite? What's my favorite food? It's, it used to be tacos for most of my life, but now I would have to say sushi and Thai food are probably neck and neck. If I had there was a Thai restaurant in LA that no longer is open. The ladies that were running it finally retired, and I was so sad because it was my very favorite food. And it was like if I was on a desert island and I could have one restaurant, that is the restaurant I would have had. It was the most amazing stuff. They made their curry powder from scratch every day. It was really great. Family Guy ? I don't know what that question actually was. Yes, Family Guy. What's the inspiration behind Grandpa? Well, sort of our grandparents. Richard O'Brien is super, super nice and sweet, and I've really only met him once or twice, but I guess I met him when he came to visit. We hung out with him a couple of times that time, but I met him once in England, and then he was here for like a week. And he came to the studio, and we went out to dinner with him and stuff like that. He's super, super nice. Swampy knows him better because Swampy used to work with him in England. And what a brilliant, brilliant man. Have you ever watched? These things are going by so fast. How did you pick Bowling for Soup for Phineas and Ferb? I was a big fan of 1985, and then I started listening to a bunch of their other stuff, and I felt like they had the same sort of pop sensibilities that I did as far as music writing goes, and they had that really crunchy, fun sound. And Danny did this. Our original version of the theme song was much more old timey, sort of like an old Looney Tunes theme, kind of thing like that. And Danny, our composer, did this version of it with all guitars that sort of sounded like Bowling for Soup. And I was like, let's see if we can get Bowling for Soup to actually sing this. That would be really cool. And I think that they got them by saying, it's one of the guys from Family Guy is doing his own show, and they were big fans of Family Guy. I used to watch it on their tour bus, and so Jared came out, and we took him out to sushi, and we showed him the show and stuff like that, and he started getting really excited about it. And not only did they perform the theme song, he wrote a longer version of, he added to it and wrote the version that's actually on the Phineas album, which is called "Today's Gonna Be a Great Day." And then which I love that version, but when they play it live in their shows, because they feel like people just really remember the theme song version, they play the short theme song version that Swampy and I wrote, and we love that. I've been to the shows, and hearing the entire audience in like whatever theater they're playing in sing along to that song is one of the coolest things. ever. It makes me feel like a rock star, even though I'm not the one up there doing it. Why does no one change clothes in Phineas and Ferb? So here's the thing. That's not really clothes they're wearing. That's just how they look. That's what I had to explain to the executives when they were like, and what is Ferb wearing? This was early on. It was like, I can't imagine any of our Disney Channel stars wearing that outfit. And I was like, well, it's not really clothes. They didn't go and buy those clothes. That's how I drew them. They're not real people. I had to explain that to them. So it's just what they look like. Who's my favorite character that I draw? It's probably Doofenshmirtz. He's the one that comes out when I doodle the most. Can you tell? Can I say hi, Alexa? Hi, Alexa. If I say that in the other room, though, she wants to know what I want for groceries or something. Inspired to me. I feel like I've accomplished what I wanted in life? I think my life has done pretty well. I just wanted to come out here and make movies. I originally wanted to be a film director, like direct live action film. And at some point I sort of fell into animation, and it was somehow more of what I wanted to do than live action. But I would still love at some point to direct a live action film if that happened. But I'm not going to be disappointed at all if that doesn't happen in my life. There's some things that might happen at some point. There's a script that Swampy and I wrote actually a while back that is floating around Hollywood with different people interested. But that's such a weird long shot to happen. Can you say hi? Please play Gitchy Gitchy Goo. Gitchy Gitchy Goo. Do you want me to play it on the guitar, or do you want me to play you I have the recording of it here. I'll play it on the guitar. That's one of the few Phineas songs that I never forget the chords to. Let's see what I got. Because we wrote these songs 20 years ago almost now. 15 years ago, I guess. And we wrote them for long enough to record them into GarageBand, or originally we used to sing them into the answering machine of our composer, and then tell him how we wanted him to produce it. It would just be us on guitars, and then we started doing it on GarageBand just because he accidentally erased one of those recordings once, and we had to remember what it was. And even a couple days later, we'd been writing so many songs. We were writing a song a week for like almost 10 years. I've written around 500 songs for Disney at this point, something like that. And listen, my guitar sounded like a cat there, because it's rubbing against this leather armrest. Wait, no, I can't get it to happen. Okay. My baby's got her own way of talking. Whenever she says something sweet, and she knows it's my world she's a-rockin', though my vocabulary's incomplete. I know it may sound confusing. Sometimes I wish she'd give it to me straight, but it never feels like I'm losing. But once I take the time to translate, here's what I'm talking about. Bow, chicka, bow, wow. That's what my baby says. Mow, mow, mow. My heart starts pumping. Chicka, chicka, chew, wow. Never gonna stop. Gitchy, gitchy, goo means that I love you. Well, I don't know what to do, but I think I'm getting through. Cause when I say I love you, she says I get you goo you. I get you goo you too. Don't need a dictionary, bow, chicka, bow, wow. That's what my baby says, mow, mow, mow. My heart starts pumping, chicka, chicka, chew out. Never gonna stop, get you goo means that I love you. Get you goo means that I love you. Get you goo means that I love you, baby, baby. Get you goo means that I love you. Something like that. I can't quite remember those chords. When I say love you, get you. I don't know what those chords now. You know, we wrote these songs a long time ago. We played them through enough times so that we could record them, and then we never played them again. So a lot of times, I had Jay. What is her new handle for her songs? Janani and her sister, Janani and her sister, came out and sang that really cool 2-part harmony version of "Busted" with me. And we went out to that lake and sang it on the dock, and I had to actually look up the chords to "Busted," which is a song that I wrote the chords to, and I had no idea what they were, and I had to okay, is it even? And I had to relearn the song just to play it with them because it's been so long since I've played any of these. We did a gig in Tennessee in Columbia, Tennessee. They were having this music festival, and they flew us out to sing a bunch of Phineas and Ferb songs. And Bethany Brinton, who was our music director for that, had to print out chord charts for all of us because we did not remember the chord, and we had to practice and learn these songs. That was a fun time. That was one of my favorite nights of playing on stage for people because everybody knew all the songs, and Bethany was insistent that we play Summer is done. We've had our fun. That song, which is the end song from the series, and I was like, I don't know if I can play that live because that song makes me cry almost every time I hear it. I don't know if I can get through it without crying. And she was like, no, we'll just practice it a bunch of times, and you'll be able to do it. You'll be able to do it. But we need to do that song because that's the finale to the series, and people are going to really want to hear that song. And I was like, okay. And we practiced it a while. And I was like, oh, yeah, okay, I can sing it. I won't think about all of the emotion that I have wrapped up in that last episode. And we got up on stage, and I started singing it, and this place was packed all the way, and there were standing people in the back and stuff, and people had come from 2 or 3 states away to hear us play these songs, and there was a whole group of serious fans, including Carly Bella, who's on TikTok, and a bunch of other people who had come from had gotten on planes to come and see us, and they all had the outfits on, and Phineas and Ferb hats, and had the stuffed toys and stuff for us to sign, and they were all in the front row, and I started doing this song, and I looked down, and the whole first row of the theater is all these super fans, and they're all crying, ugly crying, red face crying and singing along. And I was like, well, I can't look at them because that's going to make me cry. And I look over here, and there's a family over here that's crying. The mom and dad are crying because this show represented their children's childhood. And there's a family over here who's crying. I ended up having to sing the whole song to the sound guy. He was the only guy who didn't know Phineas and Ferb because otherwise I would not have made it through without tearing up, because that's a sort of an important song for us. It was cool for me. Look, I'm even tearing up a little bit right now. Or maybe that's just sleep. There we go. But it was cool for me that we had created a show that broke the fourth wall enough that we were able to actually do that sort of curtain call at the end and have the characters say thank you to all the fans who showed up and watched the show for so long. And to me, that was a real privilege. So when I play that song, I cry. But I'm not going to play that right now. I don't know if I know any. Part of it is that I don't really know that all the way through. I think it's just about the time. Now I would really have to look it back up or play it a little bit to figure that out. Trying to think of a song that I still remember. I'm taking a stroll in the moonlight, taking a stroll. I'm taking a stroll, feeling just right when I'm in the moonlight, taking a stroll. It's not a crime to pass the time with cadence and an occasional rhyme, getting one foot in front of the other, just taking a stroll. Under the stars, it's delightful, and now it may sound cliche. I can really go far.
Is it
That's
actually
despite
funny?
all the really gruesome obstacles in your way. So, and then I forget the lyrics.
This is what he's singing right now.
Getting one foot in front of the other, just taking a stroll. That song is from Milo Murphy's Law,
Oh, that's
which
Milo
is
Murphy's
our other show that a lot of people don't even know, because Disney never really got behind it. It was during a time where Disney was putting all their cartoons on XD, which is sort of their redheaded stepchild of a channel that doesn't get any of the respect or the money from the big company. It's also the channel that is not on most people's cable. It's not grouped with the other kids' channels. It's somewhere else. It's like, I think because it was a late purchase, maybe. But you know, like on our cable station, it was like 432, 433, 434 were like Disney, Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network, and then the juniors were around there too. And you could just go up and down. The kids would just go up and down the dials before streaming, and then XD was like 1702 or something like that. That didn't make a lot of sense. Why are we separating it so far? People just couldn't even find it, and so it was sort of an exercise in frustration for us a little bit. The people who found that show seem to really like it, but most people just don't even know it exists. I hope some of you will find it on TikTok and do that. Please explain the plot in Milo Murphy, because Disney XD has been taken off DSTV, so you can't watch. Oh no, that's so sad. So Disney XD. Oh, you should get Disney Plus because it's all on Disney Plus, and Disney Plus is really cheap. So that would be my suggestion. It's a big plot to explain. It's the whole first season of Milo Murphy is designed specifically, like from the ground up, to lead towards a big crossover with Phineas and Ferb, the last episode of the first season, and it all involves pistachio trees that become sentient in the future, because trying to stop Milo from destroying all the pistachio trees here creates this crisis in the future, and then they're able to fight these trees on different timelines and stuff. It's a big, fun, complicated show. I think you'll enjoy it. Perry el ornitorrinco. Did somebody say that in Spanish back here? Let me see if I can find it. I thought I saw somebody. Perry el ornitorrinco. That's Spanish for Perry the platypus. That's what somebody wanted me to say. Would you lose motivation mid-season, and how did you keep the story going? Actually, ideas are not a finite barrel. You don't have a barrel full of ideas that you run out of. Ideas are more like a muscle. That inspiration is sort of like a muscle. That the more you use it, the easier it is to get. Having worked in TV for maybe 30 years now, from like 87 to now, it's 33 years I've been working in TV. TV, you have a deadline every Friday, so you don't have the luxury of waiting around for inspiration to hit you. So you sort of figure out how to just make yourself write. And a lot of times you make yourself write something that's not particularly good necessarily, or doesn't feel particularly good to you at the time. And then you just go back and rewrite it and make things funnier as they go. I'm going to draw some more for you. Hold on. If my pen hasn't run out of ink at this point.
Such a shitty fucking system.
No, not ink. Whatever. Chalk. That's how old I am. I used to draw with ink. I know people still draw with ink occasionally, but I sort of feel like it's a lost art drawing on paper. And quite frankly, I would usually prefer to not draw on paper. So here we go. Just because of the amount of drag that stuff has. So here's the Milo, guys. Here's Milo, played by Weird Al Yankovic, who is one of the nicest people you would ever want to meet. I've met some really, really great people in this industry. There's Weird Al, there's Dietrich Bader, Wayne Brady, these are Kate Micucci. These are all really, really cool people that I'm very glad to be able to know and work with. They're very super talented people. So this is Milo. I haven't drawn him in a long time. He's got a striped vest on. There's a lot of things I did when I would design characters that then I would regret later, because it's like, why did I put that extra detail on there that I have to do this stripe every single time I draw him? It sort of becomes a pain. Let's do this. I'll turn that one off. Then there's Melissa, who is drawn to look like my daughter Melissa when she had shorter hair. Her hair used to do exactly this. Actually, now she's got even shorter hair, but when her hair's this length, it does this. So I drew her. It was like a sort of a cross between both of my daughters, because she sort of wears things that Isabella used to wear, an outfit like this. There's Melissa, and can you guys see? There she is. There's Melissa, and then there's Zach. I wonder if I can even draw Zach's mystic hair now. This is like his hair sort of has this Lisa Simpson quality to it. Something like that. It's been so long since I've drawn him. I just don't know if I can. I would have to look. Do I have a? I don't have one lying around. I don't have. I think I have something in the other room. There you go. That's sort of Zach. Let's see if I can get control. There you go. So there's Zach. He's got a T-shirt with another shirt underneath it. There you go. And there's Zach. So those are the main guys from Milo Murphy. Then there's a bunch of other characters there. But there's one that I play. I think it's been so long since I've drawn him. I'm trying to remember exactly all the details on him. He's got sort of curly hair. This is Dakota, Vinny Dakota. Wears a tracksuit. I don't remember. I think I drew it because it seemed very 70s, and we wanted him to be dressed as the 70s, and Cavendish to be dressed from the 1870s. It was a silly idea. It was just for one joke, but so we put him in like a 70s tracksuit with that sort of thing. Let's see. I know who you guys would probably really rather see me do like Doofenshmirtz, which I'll add one here. I was drawing Doof once at I went to a charity poker game, and when for a school, and when the dads from the school sort of figured out who I was, they all wanted me to draw Doofenshmirtz for them because that's apparently the dad's favorites all the time. And so I was whipping out a bunch of Doofenshmirtz drawings for them, and one guy said, "Oh man, how many times do you think you've drawn him? Like hundreds?" I just sort of laughed and I said, "Dude, if I'd drawn him less than 100,000 times, I would eat your shoes." It's like hundreds of thousands of times I've drawn these guys. So there's Dr. Doofenshmirtz. There he is. He's got the evil eyes. Though he's not really a super evil guy. He likes to think of himself as evil. He's good. And then we'll do Phineas for you too. I don't often draw on my lives. I should probably do that more. I don't actually do lives very often because I'm usually very busy. I have stuff I'm supposed to be doing right now, but I wasn't feeling like doing it, and my family hadn't woken up yet. So I figured I'd come on here and do this. Ding, ding, ding. Boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom, boom. I don't know. Sometimes it helps to make sound effects while you're drawing. My daughters make fun of me sometimes because I'll make it swooping noises for like that while I draw. And they're like, "Dad, are you making sound effects for the drawings that you're making?" Yeah. So there's Phineas. Do this. Move him over this way a little bit. There you go. And I'll do Ferb next to him. I don't know if you guys know this, but the eye that is furthest away from us on Ferb is always the smaller one, or it's always the larger one. It's the opposite of the way foreshortening works. There we go. Ferb's ear is, like if you made a line over from the bottom of his eyes, that's the top of the ear. There's Ferb.
What? I didn't press it.
If any of you guys are ever thinking about going into animation, especially into TV animation where you have a show creator who also draws, the person who's going to give you the notes on your drawings, my advice to you is to look at how they draw the characters and not how it is. They'll give you a model book that has very specific instructions on how to draw these characters, well, wherever you are, and there'll be lots of rules and stuff, and follow those rules as best you can. But if the guy who designed the characters is giving you notes on your storyboards or whatever it is that you're doing, then you need to figure out how that person draws it. Like when I was on Family Guy. Let me draw you a little bit of Stewie. When I was on Family Guy, I knew that I don't know, show you my password. I don't want to show when I was on Family Guy, Seth MacFarlane was going to be giving me notes on. No, it's not the note. There it is. Okay. And Family Guy, if you look at the drawings of Stewie in the model pack, he's really shaped like a football, right? He's like that. There's this. He's sort of the big difference between him and Hey Arnold is that his face is all on the bottom of his head, right? Now there are two ways you can make you can go on this. If you're going to get it wrong, you can make the face longer this way, where he starts looking too much like Hey Arnold, or you can make the face round or make him look more like a rugby thing, right? Well, this is the two ways you can make this shape wrong. And I noticed that when Seth drew him, Seth would always make him look more like a rugby thing. He had this kind of a way Seth did it. I would not draw it this way, and I would see other people going this way with it, and then they would always get notes on it because this is not how Seth draws it. This is how Seth draws it. So I think that anything between this and this is going to get less notes than going the other direction from the way Seth draws it. And I tell people when they're on my show the same thing. It's like, look at the way that I draw it, because I'm doing a lot of drawings for all these episodes. And if you're going in the opposite direction with details, then I go from the models, because there's models that are very specific that I helped design those models and those rules, but I still draw them a little bit different than that. I make the back of his head a little bit smaller than the front of his head when I draw it than it is in the model. There's things that you have to look at and go, okay, whose vision is it that we're trying to get out here? And let's see if I can emulate that person. And when you find somebody, when you're running a show, and you find somebody who is drawing the characters the way you want them drawn, the way that you would draw them, that person becomes invaluable to you. It's amazing. And then you got, like first season on Phineas, I had to do all of the whenever they needed something for publicity or something like that, I would draw it because I didn't want it to be drawn wrong. If there was a style guide that the promotional people could use, but if they wanted poses that weren't in those poses, if they wanted a poster or something like that, I would draw it because that's what I wanted it to look like. And then I got Kyle Menke, one of our board artists, and he really did the same thing that I would do when I would work on things, is I would try to draw it the way that creator would do it. And he learned how to draw it exactly the way I would draw it, and he had so much life and stuff in his drawings, so that he is the one that I used to do all the publicity stuff. So we got a lot of extra work when the publicity stuff would come in. And for instance, this behind me there, let's see if I can show it. How can I show it so we don't get the glare on it? This image right here, that's the last actual, there's a glare on it from the skylight, but that is the last actual piece of promotional art that I did for Phineas and Ferb. After that, I got Kyle, and then suddenly it was like, I don't have to do it all the time. What do you want me to say like doof? Somebody said talk like doof. Oh, my doof. Let's see what else we got here. That was an iPad. iPad and Apple Pencil to use. I have the first big one they came out with. I've got another one now for my daughter, and she has a much better iPad than I do. How do you get in the animation industry? You draw a lot, and then you take your portfolio into a studio, and you just keep asking to see if they'll give you work. The first animation, I got my first animation gig because Tommy Chong of Cheech and Chong knew somebody who knew somebody who knew somebody who knew me. Like literally, it was that different. He was looking for an animator, and I got a phone call like one Saturday morning, and I'm like eating cereal, and my friend said, "Dan, you animate, right?" And I was like, "Oh, I have animated." And she's like, I'm gonna give you a number to somebody." And like 2 phone calls later, Tommy Chong was talking to me and saying, "Hey, I hear you're an amazing animator." So my reputation had grown over those 2 phone calls, and I animated the Hippie Land amusement park dream sequence from his first movie without Cheech, which was called Far Out Man, and that was like my first animation gig. And then, but my first gig in an actual studio was at Murakami Wolf Swenson, that did the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and they needed a cleanup artist, and I took in my storyboard or my portfolio, which I actually have here. This is I don't know why I have it within arm's length because I haven't used it in forever. But this was my original portfolio that I got that work with, and I look at it now. I realize this is here. I'll show you guys. How do I? Let's see. I'll show you guys this is how I got my first gig. Okay, that was the Hippie Land amusement park with the giant Jimi Hendrix in the middle. I wonder if there's anything I shouldn't show in here. There might be some nudes in here, but I'll try to flip past those. Okay, so I did some design work for Sid and Marty Krofft way back when. These were shows that did not get picked up. I think Samurai Penguin may have eventually gotten made, but it wasn't in that group. These are, here, I'll show you this. This is what I did when I was young. So this was 1978. So I was like in high school maybe. I drew these cats. This was 75. I think I was 12 when I did this, and the San Diego Zoo ended up using it in one of their publications. Move it over here. So that sort of stuff. Then this is the cartoon character I did at the University of Southern California at USC. I did a daily comic strip for years there, and that's the character. I think this was a Valentine I did for whatever girl I was dating at the time, and maybe she left it when she left me. I don't know exactly what happened. This is the actual thing that got me the work, because most of the stuff in here is not really appropriate for working in a studio. It's not that it's inappropriate, it just doesn't show them a lot of that you have the right skills. But they were looking for a cleanup artist, and he saw some of these clean lines, and he said, "Okay, maybe you can do this job." And that's what I did. This is a scene from a script I was writing at the time. I love this picture of a grandfather and his grandson. I love that. I was still in high school when I did that. This is the mighty Tyrannosaurus. You guys know what a thesaurus is here. See if I can hold this right. There we go. Grog, or somebody, I can't read it because it's all backwards now. Probity, rectitude, whatever. It's a joke because, so, the first gig I had in an actual movie was drawing Sylvester Stallone and this young boxer that he was training for Rocky V, and that was a lot of fun. This isn't even the one they used. They used a different one. I mean, they used one of mine, but I did like 4 different versions for them. These were things I did for the newspaper I worked at. They needed caricatures of different people. So there's Rodney Dangerfield, Bill Cosby, who was not yet a pariah, George Bush. These are my characters from my comic strip. This is a T-shirt for the Invisible Maniac. This is a cell from Far Out Man. Oh, there we go. This is Sylvester Stallone from Rocky V, and this is actually it's mirror reversed, so you can't read it, but so it doesn't look like this in the movie. It looks the mirror image of this, but actually I don't know if the lives are mirror reversed or not. But this actually was in a prop newspaper that spun up to the front of the screen, which for me was really exciting to see on a huge screen. This was from this is again for Sid and Marty Krofft. At the very beginning of my career, I did some work for them, developing a reboot of Land of the Lost. These are some of the scenes they were talking about, so I just sort of tried to make it look like this. This is what it would look like. And this was the first of 2 portraits I've done in my life that were self-portraits that were all made up of cartoons. I don't know if you can see into it well enough, but it's all drawings of other things. If I do that. And that's about it. That was my portfolio that I took in, and most of that stuff you can tell that somebody, like if I saw this when I was hiring, said okay, this guy can draw, but I can't tell a lot about what things he can do well within the boundaries of what we do in animation. But the guy saw that one cleanup drawing, that super clean line drawing, and he was like, okay, maybe you can do this. And I told him, look, I'm about to get on a plane and go and house sit for my parents and watch my little sister. I have a sister who's 10 years younger than me, and she was in middle school or high school, and she needed somebody to be there, and my parents were going on a trip, so I was going to a city that I didn't know anybody in. My parents had moved since I had grown up, so I was going to just be sitting around the house, and I told him, look, I'm just going to be sitting around my parents' house. I'll have all the time in the world to work on this and get it back to you next week. And he said, okay, it's like that was the thing that made him do made him give me a chance. Because he thought, okay, this guy's going to be bored. Can Dr. Doof give you an hour? That's I guess that's it. I've seen you with Youngblood. Well, I wasn't literally with Youngblood, but I was doing Doof stuff with Youngblood. I was duetting Youngblood. Can you draw Cabin Puss? I don't know that I want to draw Cabin Puss. Do you get a job? Do you need to go to a good school to get a job in animation? Animation is one of those places where it does not matter what school you went to as long as your work is good. The work is what matters the most. The work in your portfolio is what's going to get you a gig or not get you a gig. They're not going to look and say, oh, this person graduated from such and such a place. We want to hire him. They're going to look at the work. I myself am a college dropout. I went to USC for 2 years and took nothing but film classes. Never got into the film department there. I didn't get into the film major, so I dropped out and started working. And that's worked out just fine for me. So animation, it's really more about the work than anything. What Procreation brush? I think I was using, when I was drawing that I was using one of the inking tool, one of the inking tools. I don't remember what. Addition to animations, what other duties are included in animated shows? Well, actually, for TV animation, there's not a lot of actual animation jobs where you're actually animating. You need to be able to animate a certain amount if you're doing boards, because they're going to want animation poses in there. But most of the animation is done overseas or in Canada or something like that, where they can pay people less. But you need to be able to draw props. If you can just draw props, anything someone picks up. If somebody's picking up an Apple Pencil in a show, or a pen, or a Rubik's Cube. This isn't even a Rubik's Cube. It's this weird thing that turns inside out. It's a Yoshimoto cube. But if somebody's picking up or moving things or driving something or anything that moves that's not a character is a prop. And there's people who just draw props all day long for those. Backgrounds, if you can just draw backgrounds and you understand perspective, you can get work doing that. There's people who just drop the color into the characters in Photoshop. There's people who paint the backgrounds in whatever style that they need to be painted in. There's people who design those backgrounds. There's people who design those props. There's people who do storyboards, which to me is the most fun of those things, but that's because that's what I like to do. There's people who just really get off on doing the other things. So there's a bunch of different jobs. There's writers, there's sound effects people, there's mixers and editors and timers. There's a whole bunch of different jobs you can do on an animated production. If you're in features, there's a lot of work for CG animators now. Those are all things you can look into. Candace was the original simp because she had squirrels in her pants. You were correct. Named my pet bird after Perry. Very nice. I just put up a video just now of right before I did the live. Like, I woke up this morning and I always check my mentions to see if anybody's asking me specific questions that I can help them with. And my mentions, I just scrolled and I was mentioned so many. I was tagged in this one video that's got 2 million views. So many times I couldn't get to the end of it, and I was like, all right, what is this video? You guys have to go and check it out when we're done with the live. Go to my site, because it is absolutely the coolest thing that I've seen having to do with Phineas and Ferb at all. Started watching Phineas and Ferb again. Excellent. That's excellent. Does my daughter ever bully me? What do you mean by bully me? They control me quite a bit, but I don't know that I would call any of it bullying. I'm from Mobile. Didn't you live here? I did. I lived at the corner of Cottage Hill and Schillinger Road for middle school. And then high school, I lived on Druid Drive South, which is right across the street. I think it would be, I want to say it's on the east side of Municipal Park. You go across the street, and then there's some railroad tracks, and I live just on the other side of those railroad tracks. Near Forest Hill Church. I named my fish Heinz Doofenshmirtz. Doofenfish, excellent. That makes me very happy. Did you see, and I'm glad that the show has helped you. That's always great. I've heard people tell me things that, it's gotten them through really dark times in their lives. And that's one of the coolest things about making comedy, is that you get to help people in ways that you don't even think about. Is Doofenshmirtz secretly Phineas's dad? He is not secretly Phineas's dad. As much as I think that's a fun theory, and I wish I had made that possible so that was a possibility that I could say, in the canon of the show, it's impossible for Phineas to be Phineas's dad, because he had that one blind date with Linda, and then he never saw her again. And Phineas and Candace are full brother and sister, so there's no way he could be Phineas's dad. Sorry about that. What's the hardest voice? All right, I'll say Pagas as Dakota. So that's the other voice I do. I do Dakota from. This is my dog. I do this. I do a voice for Milo Murphy's Law too. That's it. Ops on getting a Doofenshmirtz tattoo. Oh, you should definitely do that. So you legit owned my yes, Dakota. Dakota is like, hey, Cavendish, what are you gonna do? Made Doctor Who references. Yes, there were lots of Doctor Who references. One of my writers is a huge Phineas or a Doctor Who fan. Dan, you have no idea how much Phineas and Ferb has helped me keep positivity in university. Oh, thank you. That's one of the things we are the most proud of in that show is that it's a undeniably positive message all the way through. It's all about positivity. They're never negative about anything. Which was a hard show to write. We did that knowing that it would make our comedy harder, because the easiest place to go for comedy is negativity and meanness and shocking stuff. And we couldn't do the shocking stuff because we're on Disney Channel, and we just decided not to do negative stuff. So Phineas and Ferb was literally your childhood. That's excellent. How did you? I have a hard time stopping these in time. Can do say happy birthday to my friend Gwenny. Happy birthday to this person's friend Gwenny. To Cleat 2007's friend Jenny. Happy birthday to you. Do you want to go out now, or do you want to see these people? You want to say hi? Here, come here. This is Tofu. He's our quarantine puppy. You may have seen the video that we wrote a rap song about getting this dog. My daughter's performed it. What are you smelling? You've smelled this jacket before. There's nothing new on that jacket. All right, I'm going to put him out. It's supposed to go out. Go ahead. Go ahead. What, you don't want to be in? Then you do want to be in? Okay. So you want to come up here? No? Okay, well, that's my dog.
Surprise.
Let's see if I can catch up to you guys. If the show... Were you involved in casting processes? And I was involved very heavily on all the casting processes of the shows I was on. Or at least on, since Phineas, I wasn't involved in the casting of like Family Guy that was cast before I came on. Happy 15th birthday.
I think it's in the bag.
What inspires me on Disney? It inspires me to just be able to do this for a living. The fact that I get to do all the things that I love to do, all the things that I would be doing if I was unemployed, that I get to do that and they actually pay me money sort of feels like a racket to me. But I'm very happy that this racket is working out. Have you seen the good Disney Plus ratings for MML? I have not seen. They don't share those ratings with us very often anymore. So I'm hoping they're good ratings. I would love to do more. The Reese's monkey wearing a powdered wig, because that's really what that face on Mars looks like. People who we're all up in arms about that face on Mars, when really it's just like, the human mind will make a face out of anything that's two shapes that are similar at all, straight across, and then another shape for a mouth. Your brain automatically sees a human. So we just thought it was funny that people were like, somebody left a human face on Mars. Well, no, nobody left a human face on Mars. If you look at any thing of sand, you'll find human faces in it. It's just our nature. That's my happy birthday on Monday. What is your favorite episode of Phineas and Ferb? Roller Coaster is really special for us because that was the episode that me and Swampy just sort of did together, just the two of us. Happy birthday, Small Fry. Chop, chop, chop away on TikTok. Oh yes, you did that. That was a great video. I loved it. I love that song so much. I think that's one of my favorite songs. That song. I can't take full credit for that song at all because that song was written by a friend of mine who is actually the daughter of a friend of mine. She's a young songwriter who's amazing. She goes by Wolfie. She has albums out. She's really, really, really good. If you you can stream her stuff or Spotify it or Apple Music or what, I don't even know if those are verbs, but Wolfie, Wolfy, and she wrote this song in college as like an exercise about writing a boy band song. And it was not those lyrics. It was entirely different lyrics. They were almost equally as stupid. Which, like, when I asked her if I could use it because we were going to do this boy band bit in Carolyn Dutton said I'm her hero. I guess she's in here somewhere. She was writing it just as an exercise, and so when we were doing this boy band bit, I asked if we could use it, and she said, "Oh, sure, I'm not going to ever do anything with that," because she writes much edgier stuff, really. And I said, "Do you mind if I change the lyrics to make them dumber?" And she laughed. You can come up with dumber lyrics than that? And I said, yes, I can. And then I played it for her, and she was like, okay, you were right. You came up with dumber lyrics. I'm always trying to come up with the dumbest stuff I can do. Can you do Phineas and Ferb Rocky Horror collab? Wouldn't that be great? I wish we could do that. I don't know who owns Phineas and Ferb now. It may be Fox, but I don't think that Disney would ever allow that. I think that those two audiences are about as diametrically opposed, even though there's a big crossover in the diagram now because people have grown up. Phineas and Ferb, because when I first started watching, it inspired you to love sewing. Okay, very cool. What was the easiest character to draw? The easiest character to teach people to draw is probably Phineas, because everybody can draw a triangle, and then it's really a triangle and two circles, and you've got Phineas. And you put some hair on one end. What animated shows do I watch? The only animated show that there's two animated shows I watch right now. It's both of Justin's shows. Justin Roiland, who used to work at Disney, and he left, and he made this show, Rick and Morty, which I think is the most brilliant show on TV, and now he's doing Solar Opposites for Hulu, and both of them are brilliant, brilliant shows. I love them so much. My friend Gabe is pregnant. Can you please congratulate him? Congratulations, Gabe, on your pregnancy. Where can we find Phineas and Ferb merch? I think if you just search online, there's merch out there. I know there's shirts. I need to get myself. They have a love handle shirt now. I've got to get myself one because Carly Bella has one, and I was like, oh, where did you get that? Tell us a Mark Hamill story. Well, I told you the story of in one of my TikToks about my wife meeting him and not having any idea who he was. which I loved, because we were talking to him for like an hour, and afterwards she was like, so who was the guy with the beard? Honey, that's Mark Hamill. He played Luke Skywalker. And she was like, what? Which is fun. Mark is just the nicest guy. And how cool is it that I, who was like such a huge Star Wars fan, when I was young, I was the first kid in line for the first showing of Star Wars in Mobile, Alabama. To have sort of worshipped that show the way I did, and then to get to know and work with Luke Skywalker himself, that's a really, really cool thing. He's super, super nice, and he always says he is the anti-Shatner, meaning like William Shatner is sort of notoriously, and will get really angry if you give him a line read, and he's like, I am the anti-Shatner. I just want to get out of here as quickly as I can and give you whatever it is you want. So if you have a line read in your head, just tell me the line read, and I can reproduce that for you. He's really great about that, because he understands sometimes you have a very specific rhythm you want something said in a show for the humor to work. Go on out. There you go. And that's what you're looking for. That's what you're hoping for, and he knows that, and he doesn't mind if you tell him what that rhythm is. A lot of people get a little uppity about
Kind of
saying,
like Castle.
say it like this.
Tell
And
Beckett.
they're like, well, why don't you say it?
That,
So I don't
that's
have your voice.
true in theory,
Can
in
you
that
please
Vision
come up with a
died and
nickname
she brought him
for
back
me?
to life, but she
It's
did that
Taylor.
against his wishes.
Still.
I think she's doing it because she was grieving him, and she's like, no,
I
I've
think
already
you should
lost
go by
him, so I'm
YL.
not losing my boyfriend too. So.
Just take the middle of that name as your
No, but
nickname.
she took a whole town
I'm looking at
hostage.
Perry on your bed right now. Well, that's where he
Vision
is.
spoke to one of them, and as soon as he took like the
What are the odds that
mind
my
control
comment
off,
will
I
be
was like,
seen?
oh my god, what's
Oh,
going
not good
on?
because there's a lot of comments on here.
apparently in
So
a lot of pain.
official
Cal's not
Agen
having fun.
TV.
We still need to watch Castle, though.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said that. That's really bad. Let me amend that. They're probably
on live.
Taylor Swift fans. They deserve it.
Okay, I'll try
Well,
not to.
What do you need?
Anyway,
Why do they deserve it?
can
Why do
you
they
take
deserve it?
me and
No
Emily
one
to
deserves to
Starbucks?
suck a Taylor Swift fan.
Probably in a little bit.
No
How
one
much is a little
deserves to
bit?
be-
I don't
no
know.
one deserves
When
to
I'm
suck
done.
a Taylor Swift fans.
Okay.
But like,
I don't know. 20 minutes.
but like feeding children.
Okay. Bye.
So aren't you?
There's plenty of food in the house.
Don't you want to build orphanages?
So, who is Phineas's dad? Is that what it says? Phineas's dad has never been in the show, so it's Mr. Fletcher. Is that or Mr. Flynn? Excuse me, he's Mr. Flynn. Ferb's dad is Mr. Fletcher. They're just Phineas's dad and Ferb's mom are just out of the picture. That's what we've always said, is that they are just no longer part of the equation. We're going to the zoo. We're going to the zoo, and then we're gonna see some animals. I have a full version of that song. I wonder if I can play it for you. That didn't even show up in the show. There's a song that Dakota sings in Milo Murphy's Law that's called "We're Going to the Zoo." Let me see if I can find the long version of this, and we'll. How would I? They keep changing where everything is. How do I search? Oh, it's up here. There we are. Hold on. Going to the zoo. Let's see if I can find it. It was just my demo, so it's nope. This is not. This is just searching online for it. It might be in Milo current best versions, of which there are 50 or something. I'll see if I can find it. Found Toboggan of Love. Nope. Milo Murphy Songs A3. Messing around TLC. Nope. I can't find it. But next time I'll have it queued up for you guys. A1 Milo Murphy's Law. Let's try. I wonder if I search within this, that'll work. Nope, it just takes me to a Rafi song. But there is one where he's like lion loops and cantaloupes, and I don't know. It's going to the zoo. I'll try to have it for you next time I do a live, because people always ask me for that song. I just watched Groundhog Day, and it reminded me of the PNF. The Last Day of Summer is basically a cross between Groundhog Day and The Langoliers by Stephen King. If you ever watch that, it sort of borrows heavily from both of those themes. I just watched that with the girls again recently and just loved it. What do you think Monty Monogram would be doing today? People are very upset. Some people are very upset that Monty Monogram didn't end up with Vanessa because they thought that was a really cute thing. And I've thought about making up some really horrible reason that they broke up, just to say, well, you don't know that, 5 years after that, he cheated on her with, so I don't, but it's just, it's 10 years later. They would have had to gotten married at that point. Who knows what went on between Monty and Vanessa. But for some reason they broke up. Just that's all you really need to know. What's my favorite Phineas and Ferb song? My favorite song to write was probably Summer Belongs to You. I have a whole bunch of favorite songs of the show, just depending on my mood at the time. I really love Carpe Diem. I love Curtain Call. I love Summer Belongs to You. I love Roller Coaster the musical, that roller coaster song. There's a bunch of songs from the show that I really appreciate. Let's see what else you got. Thank you for making your childhood amazing. Can I say Amy? Is that what you want me to say? Hold on. I have to go back. They're coming too fast. Hi, Jonah. In Doof's voice, I'll say hi, Jonah, and hi, Amy. See if that'll help. Where did I study animation? I took one animation class literally at USC before they had an animation major. It was the only animation class that I ever took. Please answer my question on Twitter. Well, I would, but I won't be able to necessarily find your question on Twitter. You should have asked it right here, right now, because then I might have actually seen it. I can't navigate Twitter very well. I don't, and plus I just never go to Twitter anymore, because TikTok is so much more fun. Can you say, hi, Marley? Can you do a room tour? Let's see. This is my room. It only goes over to there, and it goes over to there, and there's a bunch of guitars. These are not all my guitars. Costello, which I think is really cool. But it's just this. It's just this. This is the there you go. That's the room tour. It's not terribly exciting. I have a bunch of books here. It's mostly comic books, I think. It's mostly comic book collections and art books. Down at the bottom, I got rid of a lot of them when we moved to this house. I had been living in the same house for 16 years, and so I wanted to do a big purge because I had a bunch of stuff that were still in boxes from the last time I had moved, and I was like, there's no reason for me to keep the stuff if I haven't used it in 16 years. So I went through and looked at everything and said, literally, if I haven't thought of this, if I haven't actively wanted to find this or used it in the last 5 years, I just threw it out or I donated it. And I threw out a bunch of old. I used to keep copies, like actual physical copies of my old storyboards, and I threw out a bunch of those. Even realizing if I'd gone on eBay, I probably could have sold them for a lot. It wasn't worth it at a certain point. And so like every weekend for like 6 months before we moved into this house, I was just going through and just purging a lot of stuff. And I had a bunch of art books that I just hadn't used in years, and I took them and I just had to go like, well, I love this Disney, The Illusion of Life. I'm probably never going to read this again, and if I am, I could go and get it somewhere. But all of this art I can find online, and I should give it to some young animators who will really appreciate it. And that's like a big, expensive coffee table book, and I had 2 copies of it for some reason. And I just took it to work and I put it on the free stuff table. The people often just like bring stuff that they know somebody else will want, and they just put it on this one table at work. And I put this stuff, and people come in and like, really? You're giving away the Illusion of Life, which is a huge coffee table book. It's really a great book, but I'd been through it several times and hadn't touched it in 5 or 6 years, hadn't even thought of it. So I was like, this needs to go. Like, this is just the books that have survived. It's probably a quarter of the books that I had as far as art books go. And I just got rid of a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff was just stuff I'd gotten for reference. And now I would not look like, if I want to reference a Miyazaki background, I'm not going to go and find which book it's in here. I'm going to type in the movie and those backgrounds come up online and I can look at it. If it's not stuff that I'm going to print, frame and hang up on my wall. So, do you know your daughters have doppelganger? Judd Apatow and his daughters, Iris and Maud. I'll have to look and see what Iris and Maud look like. I'm going to look them up right now, actually. Iris and Maud Apatow. I could see that because I look a little bit like, let's see. A little bit. Not as much. There's a girl online, there's a girl on TikTok that looks so much like Melissa that everybody tags her when there's a girl with much redder hair than her, but otherwise it looks very much like Melissa. Feed the children now. Wait. My daughter is on the live saying, "Feed the children now." It's like, there's food in the house. If you want food, you just want coffee is what you want. Put Evil Love Song on Spotify. I think it should be on Spotify. If it's been released by Disney, it should be available on Spotify. I can't imagine it's not. Can you please draw my friend Josiah Andrews? Probably not. And he was killed in an accident. That's very, very sad. But I don't know that I'll have time. What happened to being a third Meep episode? Well, we never planned on making the second one, so we also never planned on making the third one. But who knows if they pick up a fifth season at some point, which is, I suppose, entirely a possibility. They're doing more Proud Family and a bunch of other stuff. So if they do that, well, then we'll definitely do it. Sophia says my daughter is hungry. Yes, she is, but she's also has 2 feet of her own and can make something in the kitchen if she wants. She just really wants to get out of the house. That's what she really wants. Can you teach us how to do the doof voice? I did a whole tutorial. It's like this. You just talk like this. It's a 1-step process. Let's see. Can you say hi to Ambrose and Cyril? Hi, Ambrose and Cyril. My sister Kaylee. Hi, Kaylee. Would I collaborate with Judd Apatow? I would love to collaborate with Judd Apatow. Why do you know him? He wrote one of the funniest. There's a Vanity Fair article about comedy that has a article or a story written by Judd Apatow and a story written by Steve Martin about Judd Apatow's story that are 2 of the funniest things I've ever read. Evil Love Song. Perry's Agent P. Why did you decide, it looked like Decade, why did you decide wild parsnips would be a specific vegetable Candace was allergic to? My sister Linda, who Linda Flynn Fletcher is based on, when we were young, she had an allergic reaction to wild parsnips. She had these big blotchy things that came all over her, and when she went to the doctor and they tested her for a bunch of stuff and found out it was an allergic reaction to wild parsnips, specifically wild parsnips. I've not worked with Alex Hirsch, but I've had lunch with him many times. He is a really good guy, and boy, is Gravity Falls a good show. I told the head of the studio when they did the pilot for Gravity Falls that if they didn't pick up Gravity Falls, then they were being real idiots, because that's one of the best pilots I'd ever seen. Can you say happy birthday, Carl? Carl, the intern. Carl, he knows what all these buttons do. Can I feed the children? Feed the children. Some people are joining the thing. I'll feed the children eventually. Plus, I think my wife is home, so she can also feed the children. It means that she doesn't want to take them any more than I want to take them. So I'll eventually do that. Happy birthday yesterday. Happy birthday to Rena. Hey, Axis, how's it going? Me and Valentina, can you greet me and Valentina? What's your name? You didn't tell me your name. Hello, you and Valentina. Dan from South Wales. Say Perry the Platypus. Perry the Platypus! There you go. All right. Is this Hank Green? Yes. Yes, because he and I are the only people over 50. I don't think Hank is over 50. I think he's in his 40s. Maybe not even that. He might be 39. He's quite a bit younger than me, I think. I met Hank and his brother John at a party in Studio City a couple years ago, and they were just the nicest people, and they had kids right in the Phineas and Ferb age group, so we hung out a lot at this party, and then my daughter became enamored of specifically John's books. I think she's now starting to get into Hank's books too, but she started reading all of John Green's books. And when I saw her reading John Green's books, I said, "Oh, I'll tell him that you like his stuff." And she's like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "Well, I've got his number on my phone. I'll text him and tell him." And she's like, "You know John Green?" She was very impressed by that. So no, I am not Hank Green. I am the other old guy on this app. Hi, Bentley. Just to make your daughter freak out. What happened to Phineas and Ferb? We just stopped making it. We did a finale because the studio was starting to cool off on it a little bit. Because Disney Channel is all sort of motivated by how much merchandise they're selling, and Disney and Phineas had this huge merchandise wave, but it got to the top and it plateaued, and we still had 2 years of the show already made because they had just picked it up so fast that we were way ahead of ourselves. And they were like, "We don't want to pick any more up until we've aired all these because we don't know what the ratings are going to be like in 2 years because it started to plateau." And I was like, "Well, I have no interest in rehiring all these people who are all going to be working somewhere else and trying to find people who can do this show from just another pool of people. And I'm tired. So if you want, let's end this show. We have 5-hour-long specials that they'd already picked up. Let's make one of those hour-long specials a finale. Make it a last show because we don't get to do that very often in cartoons. Do an actual end of the series." And they were like, well, let's talk about it. And then they went off and had a bunch of meetings and came back and said, "Okay, we'll let you end this series if you don't do anything that will keep us from making more of them later." And so that's what we did. And I was actually very happy to have been able to actually put a bow on it and actually end it the way I wanted to end it. Carson! I already said Periol Ornithorynco. You should have been here earlier. Periol Ornithorynco! People got really freaked out when I was speaking Spanish to those girls. My wife is from Venezuela, so that's how I know Spanish. And I'm not by any means fluent in Spanish. I can carry on a decent conversation, and I can tell any story that I know in English, I can tell in Spanish because I know a lot of words, but I usually know one word for every one thing, and there are many words for those things. Say, hay muchas palabras para una cosa, pero yo sé una palabra para una cosa. And cuando las otras personas hablan con otras palabras, no entiendo. Meaning, if other people are using other words for the things that I know, I'll get lost very, very quickly. So, the voicemail message is, "Hello, you've reached whoever it is you were trying to reach, but they're not able to pick up the phone right now. So, you might want to leave a beep, is what I'm saying. There you go. That's your. I'll do you a Doofenshmirtz one too. Hello, you've reached the number that you are calling, but there is no one picking up the phone. So please leave a message, and they'll get back to you when they stop being evil. There you go. Finale. Linda should have said, by the way, I knew you were being honest. I just wanted to mess with you. Well, I had to explain to some kid, some parent asked me, can you please explain to my kid why Linda can see them at the end of the episode and why the boys are there on stage and Perry the Platypus is on the next stage over? Is it that they just don't see him? What is it like? No, that's a curtain call. The show is done, and all the kids who have been performing in this show for you at the time, just like if you're in a play, they all come out and do a big curtain call number. And it's like the show is over, and now these people are sort of thanking the audience, and that's what that was all about to me. How is the Perry sound effect made? Well, I don't know how it's actually a sound effect overseas. In the States and in English, it is D. Bradley Baker who makes that noise. And there's people online who do it very well. I think it's a specific skill. Sophia Gomez does it very well. She's sort of known on TikTok for being, and it's Sophia with 4 I's, Sofiiia Gomez on TikTok. And she does it periodically. I've seen her do it in person, and it sounds just like Dee. But for overseas, because they didn't want to pay SAG rates to everybody, they made that into a sound effect, and it's just something that our sound effects studio built from a bunch of different noises. I don't know exactly what they used. It's probably some sort of animal noise. Man, for 70s, more than the children's animated shows. Looks like somebody's coming to request me to drive them somewhere. Yes, I know Craig McCracken. All right, I'm gonna go.
Es hora de comer.
Es la hora de comer.
Food, please.
All right, I'm gonna take them.